Hi guys, and thanks for joining us again for Creating 30. Myself, Tristan Griffiths, and the lovely Sarah Moore will be your hosts for today. We are going to spend the next 30 minutes exactly trying to deliver as much value and content to you as possible, teaching you how you can best use storytelling across various different platforms. Every single week on Creating 30, we spend 30 minutes discussing a specific topic around content creation or repurposing so that you can take real action and start doing these things for yourself during the week. With that in mind, today's topic is all about storytelling and how you do a better job of storytelling across various different platforms. So, yep, absolutely, Jed. We're going to talk fast. Today we're actually going to concentrate, because it's a 30-minute show. We want to be really focused. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of skim across a load of them and then go a little bit deeper with a various number of platforms. So, Sarah, hey. Do you want to let us know what platforms we're going to talk about today, and kind of let's kick straight into it. We've got no time to waste with 30 minutes.
Well, I believe that we are going to attempt to get through at least Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram of all of the platforms. There are more obvious ones like Medium and things that are text-based as well to tell your story, but we're going with some of the other ones to talk about that a little bit more. Sorry about the noise in here.
Okay, so obviously as you look across different platforms, it is really important within each platform to tell your story in the best way for that platform. You may have the same story to tell to your different audiences. It's bearing in mind that your audience will be different on different platforms as well. So if the story is relevant across different platforms, how you tell it would be different. Obviously, with the likes of, let's say, for example, Twitter, you have to be able to tell a very clear and concise story with 140 characters. So with that in mind, some stories can't be told in 140 characters. So it's important to understand, let's say with that platform, that you really need to understand how you can break a big story down into small bite-sized chunks that make people want to come back and read the rest of the story. And when you do that, it's important to give people a clue as to the fact that there's going to be more to come. So a very typical way of doing this is if it's a 4-part kind of story and you're going to drip it out like through the time, what you need to do is you need to leave something on the end of the tweet. So you might put 1 of 4 so that people know to watch for it. Another good way to make sure that people can follow it is to use a hashtag. So obviously people can then go to the hashtag to then see all elements of the story as well. So that's kind of Twitter and a good way to do that with storytelling on Twitter. It's really important to be able to tell your message in short form as well, for a number of different reasons. People's attention spans are quite short these days. There's so much information being thrown at people that if you can deliver your message very short and concise, then it really delivers. So I mean, if you think to TV advertising, where they had to do all their message telling in 30-second adverts, obviously that also now translates into the social world. So that's kind of a little bit on Twitter. Sarah, which platform do you want to take next?
I don't know. I'm going to do, actually, let's talk about Instagram, because, I mean, the whole premise around what we're talking about is this idea of repurposing. And so we all have one story. We all have even more simpler, we generally all have a theme going on within our businesses and things like that. And the idea is to essentially create one piece of content and then repurpose through the other platforms. And so for what did I say? Did I say I was going to talk about Snapchat, Instagram? So I find that Instagram is a very literal platform. So you literally take a photo of what you're doing, where you are, people that you've met, people that you're with. You can geotag where you are. It's a very literal form of storytelling. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about too is kind of this more ambiguous side as well, where I've noticed that I can really tell where people are at in their business and even in their stage of life, depending on what they post. So I noticed that a lot of, like, for one of a better description, business gurus who are really far ahead in their business. They've done a lot of business and
Okay, guys. So just while Sarah jumps out and jumps back in, I think she's just having a connection issue. So I'm going to jump through. I see a lot of people are really interested in the kind of topic and how we tell good stories across a different number of platforms. So just while Sarah does a quick reboot and gets back online, I'm gonna jump in. And follow up, because Sarah and I were talking about this just before, in the fact that on Instagram, it's obviously a very visual platform, and so I mean we touched on last week. It's really important when you're out and about to capture lots of images that you can then use later on, because those images that you take, whether it's just a nice green park or a park bench or a dog playing or whatever, you can add your own story to it. So you might tell a story in pieces on Instagram, but it's a very visual platform. So it's important to have a lot of really good quality images that you can use for that. And obviously most people are carrying around a smartphone these days. Obviously the best camera that you ever have is the one that you have with you. So it's important to build your own stockpile of images rather than going and using stock images. Use your own images, whether it's pictures of you, kids playing out in the park. Build up your own stuff so that you can then repurpose it. Now, one of the things that I suggested last week with this, when you're getting visual with your storytelling and you're using images, is that you can use it. There's an app if you're at iOS, I'm not sure if it's on Android, but you can use an app called Typorama. So there is a free version of the app where you can import your images from your camera roll and overlay images over the top of that. So so it's Typorama, Typorama, which is really good app. This is the logo that you're looking for if you're looking to find it. So it's a really good app. It allows you to put images over the top. It's got some default images, which obviously everybody's using, but it's really good to, within your storytelling, it's really, really important to keep consistency with how you deliver your pictures and messages. So, hey, welcome back, Sarah. Lots of tech issues this morning.
I don't know what's going on. I'm in the exact same spot. I have Wi-Fi on both devices. I cannot get back in on my laptop.
No drama. I was just saying how it's really important with Instagram to get a stockpile of your own images and also to tell your story consistently and keep a style to how you put your stuff out so that people get used to seeing it. And then when it gets repurposed, and a really good example of this kind of people getting to know your style and your brand is as a photographer, I got asked by an artist for a photo, his favorite photo he'd had taken. And the only thing he said to me is it was me stood on a stage like this, blue background, to which I could tell him that was, 2007 at such and such a place. Because I could recognize from that, and I could go back and find it really quickly. But he showed the picture, but he knew that it was one of mine because of the style. So Sarah, Instagram.
Oh, sorry. I don't know where I got it up to, but I was just basically saying that you can start to tell where people are at in their life just based on the content that they're putting out too. Because I think it's, I'm really glad that you touched on the style and I guess the branding, because visually that's really, really important, especially with a platform like Instagram. But I also think that you have to be mindful of your client and customer still when you're on these platforms. What do they need? What do they want? And I don't know how far you heard me talk before, but just to cut it short, I was saying, like, I noticed with a lot of like the business people that I used to listen to, they're very inspirational, aspirational now, and they're not very actionable. And I know that a lot of people who are in the same place of business that I am need actionable advice. So they want actionable quotes. They want actionable things that aren't just like feel good, because I can eat ice cream and feel good. I can look at my daughter and feel good. I don't need to have my time wasted all the time. So I've been putting out a lot of quotes lately to test the field on Instagram, but even so, I try and make them less wishy-washy and more like there's still like an actionable side to it. There's still like a thought-provoking side where it's like I think the last one I did was something about create a life of value or something so that you want to get out of bed. It was something like that, basically. It wasn't that, because that's a terrible quote. But it was basically create something meaningful, and that's been really thought-provoking for me. And I'm in a place where I need actionable advice, and I think a lot of other people are. And I think that that's why people like Gary Vee have had such great success, because even though he's so successful, he still understands that his customer, his client, are in a place where they're like, I don't need to hear how great your life is. I just actually need to hear the wisdom that you have to pass on. And don't give me wishy-washy crap all the time. Give me something that I can actually implement. So I know that that's a little bit off the storytelling track, but it's so important across every platform to remember where your client and your customer is at, and remember to tell the story that's also relevant to them, and not just everything that's going on with you, or everything that you think you have to say. You still need to curate it for them, which was like so not just Instagram based. Sorry, but it's just a literal platform. That's what I was trying to get at. I don't know where it cut out before, so.
But it's really important, and I like that you touched on that topic about the fact that it's really important to tell that relevant story, because so many people are so busy telling the story that they kind of forget about the audience, and the audience is the most important thing. Just coming out of SBiz Hour up before this, they were discussing about, and Rachel Miller brought up a really good point, that people's time is really important, and you need to respect other people's time. If you're telling a story, you need to respect their time, and when you tell that story, they're giving their time. It's the same as here. The reason we do this in 30 minutes is because we know people's time is really important, and there's a lot on. I mean, for me, I have 3 things going on in the morning today, and they go one straight into the other, straight into the other. And so it's really important to be aware of the time that you take to tell that story. And when you tell the story, it's really important to do it in such a way that it's so compelling and engaging that people want to spend their time doing it. And if you tell a compelling and good story, other people will want to share it. I mean, it's come back to a point that Sarah made last week about you need to create compelling content so that people will share it. Make shareable content. Make content that people want to go, that's great, I want to tell my friends about it. So it's the same reason that things like 9gag, the funny website, blew up into such a massive site, is because they just shared a lot of funny stuff. You see something funny, I want to share it with my friends because they'll laugh at this too. And knowing the people that you're going to share it with, and that they would appreciate it. So I think that's really, really important. So whilst we're whistling through, obviously conscious on time, there's been a lot of interest, Sarah, in Snapchat. So I think Snapchat should be the next port of call. So do you want to chime in on Snapchat, and then I'll add my bit after you're done?
Yeah, I will. And we've got a few people in the house. I can't see everyone anymore because...
So I see that Jed's in. So if in a second, Jed, if you wanted to grab a seat, because I know that you've got some things to say about Snapchat, if you're free.
Is Blake still in here? Blake, if you're still in here, jump in too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But so Snapchat is like the ultimate storytelling platform. I mean, they've even got like a personal feed, I guess you would call it, in there, called My Story. So the idea is that you add snaps to it throughout the day so people can see the story of your day, or it's basically lasts for 24 hours and then that disappears. And I think that it is becoming one of those platforms that for some people it's really confusing, for other people they don't know how to use it, but for some people they're just absolutely nailing it. The creative involved in it, but also the ability to tell a story very interestingly. I so want Jed to come in and talk about some of his snaps that he's done. But what?
Sorry, Jed is just sending me snaps.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to just quickly jump on this. So I know, for one, like one of my big things here So one of my big things with Snapchat is coming from a chef background, it comes as second nature to me to show people how and what I'm cooking and eating. So if anyone follows me on Snapchat, you'll know that I ate sushi yesterday and I had muesli the day before. And I get a lot of that. And actually, I got a private snap yesterday saying, hey, do you want to move to the States and cook for me? So people are enjoying the stories. And it's for me, that's really good content because everyone can relate to food. And not everybody is maybe as adventurous with their food as maybe I am at being from a chef background. So it's my way of sharing something that I do with those people and giving people a personal insight as well. So Jed, storytelling on Snapchat.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep it short since the timer, I just feel like the timer is continually counting down. So what is the quickest piece I can share? Creative. It's even more creative than Instagram. So creativity is the number one asset that you have on Snapchat. And the biggest, and in general, in all of marketing and life in general, the opposite of creativity, in my view, is the fear of getting something wrong. So if you can overcome the fact that you might send out a snap that was sharing too much information, or that was too silly, or that didn't go over, if you can get over that fear, then welcome to the world of Snapchat, because it's only 24 hours. It's on your story. It's no big deal. Nobody's gonna say, oh, I don't like that guy. He had an awful 4-second snap that really ruined it for me. So I'm sure I've done a lot that I might have thought were silly at the time, and then after I posted, like, that was probably not as funny to my audience. But so just don't worry about getting it wrong.
We've all been there.
Yeah. Don't worry about getting it wrong. Put it out there and have fun. Show your life. Like Tristan shows us his walk to work and his stairs and his making breakfast. And he uses the stairs for, I think, transition. Like, I'm leaving the house and going out. And so the next snap is going to be out and about. I like that. It's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you get to know. You also, one of those things is you actually get to know what type of day it is based on me walking down the stairs. And it's not something I consciously tell people, but if I have shorts and thongs on, it's a hot day, right? I don't have to tell you it's a hot day and things like that. And that's something that people don't even consider. It's a really simple thing like that, is you can see that. And Jed's absolutely right. I use it as a transition that, hey, I'm doing this, but now I'm out going to do something else. So now you're thinking, what's he going to snap next? Where's he going? What's the next thing? So it's to entice people to do that. So I hope that's given you guys a little bit of an insight for Snapchat.
Yeah, just show moments. Just share creative moments of your life, and then the second most important thing, and then that's it. Is I'm going to drop it in the comments because I don't think you'll mind, but take your little Snapchat code, save it to your computer so that you can post it everywhere, because user discovery is the number one thing in terms of keeping you from having a big audience on Snapchat. So for people to find you, you have to post it everywhere. Post it in Blab, post it on Facebook, Twitter. Don't be afraid to really throw it out there.
I've put it on Twitter now, but it's probably lost in my feed. I had it pinned for a while, and I've had it on Instagram, and and now it's like in our old Blabs as well, where Tristan's dropped it in for me. Do you even snap? Yeah. And honestly, I probably have, my phone's here, duh. I probably have equal amounts. I'm now at the point where I'm getting new followers every day. That took a little while to get to that. But now that I do, I'm probably equal parts someone using a snap code versus like typing in my username. So it's really important to do what Jed just said and put your snap code out.
Yeah, send out a tweet. Even if you have 5 followers on Twitter, send out a tweet, hashtag Snapchat. Like, put in a bunch of hashtags like Snapchat, Snapcode, whatever. Same thing on Instagram, hashtag Snapchat, Snapcode, and just post it. And you'll find that weeks later, you'll get people adding you from that post because they'll have discovered you using those hashtags.
Yeah. And I mean, this is another thing is, so that's doing it through Twitter. There's another thing here. We're talking about storytelling across things. I'll give you a really good example. And if you're not already following them, I posted, and I actually picked up and posted about them on Twitter the other day because they did part of the anti-bullying campaign. I'll actually repost it, but it's Opera Americano. It's a girl.
Oh, yeah, she's great. Yeah,
she's got great stories, and she has music in it, and she does snaps, and she'll be like, "Where am I going?" and she animates it. Really, really good drawings as well. But the last snap she put out before she went to bed last night was saying, "Hey, if you've just found me and you don't know what I'm about, check me out on Instagram." And this goes back to what we said last week: is it's the cross-pollination from one platform to another. So put your snap code on your Instagram and on your Facebook and in other places. Now, some people, for some people, Snapchat is, hey, this is me, let's get personal, let's find out what I'm about as a person. But for other people, it's used as a business tool. You can tell the stories. And I know that my mum is now looking into using Snapchat for telling a story, because she's actually, she's from a teaching background, and she's actually now using, it's a thing that I know that they've been doing in the States, is elves on shelves. And she's doing it over in the UK, and she said, how do I do this? I was like, why not just give them their own channel, like their own Snapchat, where people can follow their story? What's this elf been up to? Because she takes it everywhere. People have like elfies, as in selfies with the elf, right? And so suddenly it becomes this whole story of what's this elf done today. And then another thing that people don't realize with Snapchat is once you've created a story, and this is another thing that I do, is on the end of my day, so actually at the beginning of my next day, I download yesterday's story, because it's a 24-hour story. Now, one thing to remember when you're doing that is when you're looking at it on Snapchat, you might want that to display for 2 or 3 seconds. But how does that look when you download it as a video? 2 to 3 seconds of something that's not animated is not very exciting to look at in a video. So depending how you're using it, it's really important to consider that. I mean, I post my videos out saying, hey, are you guys on Snapchat? If so, you should be following me here, and then give my handle so that people can go and find it. So yeah, absolutely think about that as well.
So I posted the Cody Vision in the comments there. You can't see it now because it was over the weekend, but over the weekend, he and his wife, he kind of wrote, you could tell his wife was not a willing participant at first, but he went through a series of YouTube songs on YouTube, and told the story of his relationship with his wife. And at the end shared that it was their anniversary. And it was so awesome. And they'd been through a lot. He was in the Marine Corps and served in Iraq. And he put those parts of his story and shared them with the music at the time that they listened to together as they got through their relationship. It was really touching and very, very cool. I loved it. I hope he'll do more of that. But your anniversary only comes around once in a while. But it's a great example of emotional storytelling and how powerful it can be. Because I told everybody on my Snapchat to go follow it right away. So that's
I followed it because of that.
Yeah, and so that's another tip for us to get the word out about our Snapchat account. Collaborate with others and get them to share your Snap ID with their audience and vice versa. So that's a good.
Yeah, I mean, that brings nicely in with kind of about 5 minutes to go because we started a little bit late. I just wanted to say that actually within that storytelling sphere, it is really, really important, and it's actually part of the formula. If you've ever watched TED speeches, the reason that TED speeches are so compelling and hit home so hard is there's an exact formula to giving a TED speech. And one of the big parts of it is to tell something and then give a relatable, like emotive story that backs up the point that you've just made. And when you're doing that in stories, like Jed just said, that got really, like, there was an emotional story behind what this guy was sharing on Snapchat. And in any kind of story that you can tell there, you think about, charities trying to raise money through TV adverts and stuff. There's not, there's the emotional side of, we're going to play on these people are not as well off as you, or whatever the element is. And so it's really important in every bit of your storytelling to think, how does this bit of the story make the audience feel? And to take those people on an emotional journey with you so that they feel the way that, like, you control how they feel via your storytelling. And so it's important to consider that through all of your storytelling on all platforms.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pop off and let you guys finish because we're...
Thanks, Jed.
Thanks, Jed.
Okay, so we've got a couple of minutes left. Unfortunately, last week we did have a few tech issues after the show. So some of the stuff didn't actually get repurposed as purposefully as we meant it to. That will actually be rolling out intertwined with this week's content. So that will be, you'll be able to find it on Instagram, Facebook. There'll be various bits popping through my Snapchat, and no doubt Sarah's. I've just seen she's just tweeted this blab, so it's already in Snapchat. It'll be across a whole range of platforms, including Twitter. If you're not already, please do follow the Twitter account that we've got set up for this show. Throughout the week, we are posting content through that Twitter. It's there in the chat over here on Blab. So it's twitter.com/CRE8IN30. So yeah, it's Create in 30 is the show. I really appreciate you guys all joining us for the half hour that we do here. And if you've got anything that you'd like us to cover on the show, please do tweet us and use the hashtag #CreateIn30 as well, spelt the same way as it is here and on all of our tweets. We'd love to hear what you guys want to hear more about, and so that we can give you as much content as possible. Sarah, do you want to do a wrap up while I get the link for the next show as well?
Yes, so thank you everyone who came in today and participated in the chat, and thank you, Jed, for jumping on. Sorry to the others who tried to get in and we didn't let you on. It's such a short show. But next week we want to do some stuff that's just even a little bit more actionable. We felt like last week we need to introduce the show, and this week we felt like we need to talk about storytelling to sort of set the intention for where we're going. And next week we want to do some actionable stuff where we should have like another screen happening so that you can essentially begin to repurpose in a similar and productive way, because I know that creating content is not, it's meant to be one of the things that we as business people do, but we don't do it very well. So we're going to show you ways to do that. We'll probably cover 1 or 2 ways each week just because we're limited in time. I know there's questions we didn't get to today. I did see your question, Cheval, about Instagram. So I just want to tell you to hang in there for that really actionable stuff. It's coming. But again, as Tristan said, if you have questions that you want answered, if you have things you want us to cover, then just ask. Like, we will cover how to make a GIF or a GIF for those of you who are still on the GIF train. We will cover things like that. That's how like down to the nitty gritty we're going to get. So I will hand it back over to Tristan to see us out, but that is where we're headed, and we hope that you continue to join and tweet it out and have people come along for the ride too, and hopefully we will stop having tech issues.
Awesome.
Wi-Fi issues.
Like Sarah said, the whole point of this show is to give you some real solid content and actionable stuff that you can do. So next week's show is actually actionable tips, and we're going to show you how to do things, whether that's that I'm not on screen and you can just see my desktop, or however we decide to do that. We will be showing you next week how to do certain things, and also certain elements of it will actually probably be showing you how we repurposed this week when we come online next week. So it's the same time next week. So we do 8:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So AEDT. So whatever that is. I need to update our graphic as well, because daylight savings is just about to change in various places around the world to make sure the graphic is up to date. So that time that's there, please just go and check the Blab link. It's bit.ly.com/creating30 EP3 for episode 3, where we'll be doing a whole series of getting right down to actionable tips and showing you how to create content and then how to repurpose it. So thanks a lot, guys, for your time. We really appreciate you joining us, and we hope to catch you again next week. And in the meantime, this week through the Twitter on the hashtag #CreateIn30. Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.